Most people think retirement is about what you finally get to buy. More comfort, more freedom, more things. But if there's one lesson I've learned watching people age into retirement, it's this. Peace doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you no longer need to manage. Over the years, I've seen many people do very well during their working lives, only to make retirement far more complicated, stressful, and expensive than it ever needed to be. Not because they lacked money, but because they held on to the wrong things. So today, I want to talk about something that doesn't get discussed nearly enough. Not what to buy before you retire, but what you should seriously consider selling. Let's start with the most emotional one, your house. Not every house, but the kind of house that once made sense and no longer does. I've lived in the same home in Omaha since 1958. I bought it because it fit my life, not because it impressed anyone. And that's the key. Many people enter retirement still carrying a home designed for a very different chapter: more bedrooms than people, more maintenance than energy, more expense than enjoyment. What once felt like security slowly becomes responsibility. Property taxes rise, maintenance never ends, and repairs have a habit of showing up at exactly the wrong time. A large home ties up capital and demands attention. And attention in retirement is a limited resource. Downsizing isn't about giving up status. It's about buying back time, simplicity, and peace of mind. Next, let's look at complex or speculative investments. If there's one thing I've said consistently, it's this. Never invest in something you don't understand. That advice becomes even more important in retirement. Many people accumulate complicated investments over decades: private deals, speculative stocks, exotic products, high-fee funds. They may have looked exciting at 45. They look stressful at 65. Retirement is not the time to be experimenting. It's not the time to chase returns. And it's certainly not the time to depend on luck. As you get older, your margin for error shrinks. Simple, transparent investments you can explain on a napkin will always outperform complicated ones that require constant monitoring. If an investment keeps you awake at night, it doesn't belong in a retirement portfolio. Another area to consider is high-maintenance toys, boats, luxury vehicles, vacation properties you rarely visit. I'm not against enjoyment, but there's a big difference between pleasure and obligation. Many retirees discover that the things they dreamed about owning require far more energy than they expected. Maintenance schedules, insurance, storage, repairs, and worst of all, guilt. Guilt that you're not using it enough. Guilt that it's costing more than it's worth. In investing and in life, I've learned that ownership should simplify your life, not complicate it. If something demands attention without delivering proportional joy, it's not an asset, it's a distraction. Selling these items doesn't reduce your lifestyle, it refines it. Now let's talk about debt that serves no purpose. I've never been fond of debt, and I'm especially cautious about it in retirement. Debt adds pressure. It adds fixed obligations to a phase of life meant to be flexible. Mortgages, car loans, personal loans, if they no longer serve a clear purpose, they quietly erode peace of mind. People underestimate the psychological weight of owing money. Even manageable debt occupies mental space. In retirement, the goal is not maximum leverage, it's maximum freedom. Reducing or eliminating unnecessary debt is one of the most reliable ways to lower stress without changing your income at all. Finally, the most important one, the need to be busy with money. This is the habit of constant financial activity, checking prices, tweaking portfolios, reacting to headlines. Many people carry their working life mentality into retirement, believing they must always be on top of things. But retirement rewards a different skill: letting go. The best retirement portfolios are boring. They don't require daily decisions. They don't invite emotional reactions. I've always believed that the more decisions you remove from your life, the better the remaining decisions become. Selling the need to constantly manage money is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Notice a pattern here. None of these are about deprivation. They're about subtraction. Over time, wealth isn't just built by accumulation. It's preserved by simplification. The goal of retirement isn't to optimize every dollar. It's to protect your time, your attention, and your peace. I've watched markets rise and fall for more than 8 decades. And I can tell you this with confidence, the happiest retirees aren't the ones who made the most money. They're the ones who eliminated the most unnecessary stress. They chose clarity over complexity, comfort over clutter, freedom over excess. If you take anything away from this, let it be this. Retirement isn't about holding on. It's about letting go strategically, thoughtfully, and on your own terms. When you remove the burdens, what remains has room to compound quietly. And that's where peace really comes from. Wealth doesn't announce itself in retirement, it whispers in simplicity, stability, and calm. That's the quiet side of wealth most people never plan for.